Hello to all of you, and warm welcome to People and Purpose, the podcast where we explore the human side of business, leadership, and transformation through purpose-led leaders and change makers from all around the world. I'm Tarja Takko, and I'm very excited to bring you today a conversation that dives deep into purpose, resilience, and the power of peer connection in leadership. Our guest today is coming from Greece. She is Stella Rapti, a former senior media executive who made a shift and turned to transformational coach and facilitator. Stella spent 27 years leading teams and organizations in the fast-paced media world before changing to a path of coaching, psychology, and purpose-driven leadership. She's now a program facilitator at inSymmetry International, where she supports senior executives through peer-to-peer learning journeys that build self-awareness, strength, and foremost, authentic leadership. In today's episode, we'll talk about Stella's personal journey, the importance of deep reflection and community, and why even high-performing leaders sometimes need to unlearn and rediscover who they really are. Let's dive in. Warm welcome, Stella.
So beautifully said, Tarja. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor and a real pleasure to talk about things I hold dear.
Yeah, the honor is ours. But let's start by understanding your personal journey. Can you take us back to the beginning? What has shaped your early leadership career in media?
Well, I became a team leader at the age of 28 and an editor-in-chief at the age of 33. I took up a leadership role, without having any idea what that entailed. How should a leader act? What should a leader do? How does a leader guide people? So I had no training, no coaching, no mentor, no safety net. And over time, I realized that those early years were in leadership were a work trauma for me, but also a gift and opportunity because I realized that I had to reinvent myself and experiment, research, read about best practices in order to create my own leadership style. So, to your question, what shaped me in the early years, I would say that it was mostly about the learning of how to lead without losing my voice, leading under pressure while still listening deeply to my team members and giving others, offering quite a lot of myself in their coaching, mentoring, and training, the things that I had never received.
It's quite unbelievable that to hear the stories that so many people are put in the leadership positions without any training or without any understanding what really the role brings when you will start to lead people. But it sounds that you were really well finding your path and as you said, how to lead without losing your voice. I think that's a really well or nicely said what you did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, after nearly 3 decades in the industry, quite a long career, what was the moment or insight that made you realize that you wanted to shift your focus?
Wow, that's a
Was
that's a
there a
very
moment?
interesting question. Was there a moment? I don't think that there was a particular moment. It kind of happened slowly and gradually, especially after I had my two daughters and I became a mother. Um, on the outside, I was thriving. I was the star of the company, building teams, launching projects, but somehow something was out of sync inside of me, a kind of a misalignment. And I became aware of it because I was a bit grumpy. And people kept telling me, wow, you have this flashy life and this shiny life, you meet these interesting people, fashion, beauty, traveling, etc. What more do you want? So I had a guilty feeling, and that created a huge imbalance in me. Gradually, this became louder and louder. Um, But performance without presence is not sustainable.
Hmm.
And I was starting to feel the fatigue. I was starting to feel a cynicism, which were the early signs of my burnout. So I guess that was the turning point.
Hmm. Was it also, you mentioned that it was when you also had your daughter, so it was, how we call it in Finland, is the rush years, that everybody are pulling you in different directions, and there is so much expectations and demands to your very limited hours that you can use.
This
So
is so right. This
mm,
is so right and so true. So many hats on, and
mm,
the inner need to perform in everything. We usually talk about alpha males, but alpha females are also a reality in the corporate world. I have always been, in my corporate years, a high achiever, high performer, a person who needed to prove the worth, prove the value, and in everything. So I had the corporate world and I had my family. I was also a wife. Maybe I was not at those years. But trying to juggle all these things really accentuated and led me closer to my burnout, the rush years, definitely.
mm. It's very interesting how you talk about the alpha female, but that's maybe a topic for us to discuss in the next episode. But if we now focus, I mean, you called your transition call to purpose. How would you describe that calling today?
Well, this is what I am offering to my clients. I know my tribe, and my tribe are higher achievers, high performers, and it's my invitation. I invite them to go back home to themselves. So my intention is to create this space where leaders stop performing and they start listening to their values, listening to their inner needs and wants, and kind of taking a minute to pause and answer deeper questions that they resist. The mind resists deeper and challenging questions. So my calling is to remind them that you are not your role. You are not defined by your role. You are more than that. You are a human being in motion, a human being that needs attention, that needs care, that needs support, that needs rest, and a human being that needs meaning. Meaning is crucial to human existence.
Hmm. All of those things that you were listing and mentioning really are key to, as you said, to human existence. But so many times people are just executing and running after their to-do lists and things that they have to be completing during the day, so not really stopping to reflect and think. And you talked about the values. How did your personal values shape the choices you made during that pivot moment? And I'd also like to hear, what are your personal values?
Well, thank you so much for this question, because at the moment, July 2020, when I quit my job, it wasn't like I had with myself and I thought, okay, these are my values and I need to align with my values, so I am quitting my job. It's a work, an introspection work that came after I quit my job. And I had time to reflect on what was meaningful to me. And the first thing is, or was and still is, integrity. And integrity means that I can't keep showing up in environments that don't align with who I really am. So that's my first thing. Second, which was really important to me, was compassion. I had compassion for everyone, for my team members, my boss, my husband, my kids, but I had no compassion with myself, to myself. Um, and the last but not least was courage. Courage to leave a very broad comfort zone, a very known, familiar comfort zone, and move to a space that was completely unknown, that was very challenging, but so rewarding and so meaningful.
Stella, we share quite a lot the same values. You talk about compassion, but I talk about care. And I could say even the same, that I had so much care for the employees in the company I worked for my family, for the people around me, but I didn't put so much care on who I am and what do I really want. So resonates really, really well.
I know where you're coming from, Tarja. And it just feels now, in retrospect, it feels so unfair. And all this people pleasing, which is very good and so rare and admirable. But we need to balance. We need to balance. And if when we are off balance, we are not good in offering ourselves to other people. So balance is key.
Balance is key. Exactly so. Yes. Well, if we now shift to what you are doing today, and you are now working as a program facilitator at inSymmetry International. For those who don't know, what is inSymmetry and how does it work?
inSymmetry International is a peer-to-peer group coaching program that was created by the consulting group named AIMS International. It's where personal development meets leadership development in a very trusted and safe environment. So what we actually do is we bring in senior executives and professionals in very small curated groups, not more than 7 people. And the goal isn't to evaluate them or it isn't to fix them. The goal is to create this safe space where each participant coaches other participants and receives coaching, but also receives knowledge, receives expertise from other members, and receives relationship. So facilitators, coaches as facilitators, we don't have the agenda. The participants create the agenda, and they don't only come close, they come really close. Most of them have become friends during time. And it's not only about networking, it is a bit about networking, which is very acceptable and very good to have, but it's mostly about creating a relationship, which sometimes, in leadership positions, it can feel lonely, right?
Definitely so, yes. I think you already answered the next question, that how does the peer-to-peer model differ? How is it different from traditional executive coaching? And also, it would be good to understand, how do you select the people that are forming this very trustful group of people that are doing the peer-to-peer coaching together?
In this group of 7, not more than 7, we try to find a balance of gender. This is very crucial in order to have the masculine principle, but also the feminine principle of leadership in the group. That's one thing. The second one is a reciprocity in roles, so that this tribe, this generation and cohort shares information, knowledge, and experience from the same level, or they share their challenges and people get them, people understand them. There is a questionnaire, there are interviews that we go through them, and then we do a very curated matching. We talk about their
Mm.
values, we talk about their beliefs. So they are very attentively selected. We also check upon commitment and how committed they are to change, how committed they are to attending. And one thing that's really fascinating is that all these people who can be CEOs, CTOs, CFOs, or they can be like level 2 or level 3 in big organizations, they never miss a meeting. They never
Mm.
miss a meeting. And they are always there to share wisdom and ask questions and receive answers.
Mm. Well, that says how much they appreciate the experience if they are never missing a meeting. But what do you think makes the group setting so transformative, especially for the senior leaders? You talked about them being maybe lonely sometimes, not having so much peer-to-peer relations or peers to talk to. But in your view,
Mm.
what makes the group setting so transformative?
Well, in my experience and what I have seen is that there is real power in resonance. Sometimes someone says out loud what they have never dared to admit. And the biggest thing is, oh my God, I'm not alone in
Mm,
this. I'm
mm,
not the only one who feels this way, or I'm not the only one who is challenged that way. And this kind of recognition is healing. That's one thing. The second thing is that group spaces mirror you. So
mm,
the outcome is amplified. And this normalizes the fear. It's tuned down. And last but not least, it creates a sense of belonging. I belong to a group. So I'm
mm,
part of this, which is so connected to the human nature, right? We need to
mm.
belong.
Yeah. Can you share a moment or a story from this group setting or this peer-to-peer coaching that really moved you or stayed with you?
Yeah, actually, it happened recently, very recently. A participant said, a very, high-end executive, actually, this is the first time I am in a leadership space where I don't have to pretend to be someone else.
Hmm.
That was so powerful, not just for this person who was always a very resistant person, but also for the group. You could see the ripple effect to the group. It was a really bonding time for all of them.
Yeah, yeah, that's an excellent example, and I can also very well
Yeah.
resonate with that experience.
Don't we wear a mask in our work?
Mm. Well, you mentioned that this peer-to-peer coaching is not about assessing the people. So I think that's something that there's so many expectations set for leaders that you always need to think that what are the expectations and how do I meet the expectations? So that's, you said, wearing a mask. I think that's about how do I need to be in different setups and situations, and how because people are looking up to you, they are waiting for your guidance and your yeah,
Definitely. This is so
your
well
leadership.
said.
So yeah.
Yeah, this is so well said, Tarja. We wear a mask, and sometimes it's really important to be flexible and adaptable and to have the chameleon effect.
Mm,
Just
mm,
as long we don't become shapeshifters, just
mm,
as long we stay true to our core, true to our purpose and values, and
mm.
our inner meaning. Yes, definitely. Well said.
Yeah. Hey, if we now focus on the leadership development themes, and I think this was a really good bridge to that. So the leaders you work with are really at the top of their game. So can you Can you list or mention some patterns or challenges that you see again and again, something that a lot of the leaders are experiencing in the
Oh,
very challenging world we are living in today?
yeah, true, true. I think number one would be over functioning,
Mm.
over committing. And, the people I work with are just so brilliant, and they are burnt out. And it's so interesting to see people who are so intelligent, people who are so top of the game that they don't fully realize, they don't get the signals either from the body or from the feedback they receive from peers or supervisors. Most of them, they are caught in a sense of urgency.
Mm.
This is urgent. And there is no grading between this is important, this is very important, and this is something that I really need to do right now. This is urgent. So they
Mm.
are holding everything together, but they rarely ask for help. They rarely ask for support. They neglect this part, either because they think that this is a weak spot and they don't want to show up as weak, or because they are caught up in this spiral
Mm.
and they don't think about it at all. So basically, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they perform leadership and they don't live leadership with
Mm.
all their senses, with all their selves. So my work is mainly about softening the edges. It's not about the leader not being a leader, but really living their moments. And softening the edges means reconnecting them with their purpose, defining their boundaries, and their real meaning. That's the three steps.
Yeah. Would you say that it's also lack of clarity and lack of focus because there is so much expectations and deliverables and targets and everything that is coming towards you as a leader? So if they don't have that, where should I focus? Well, you actually said it already. What is the priority? What are my top focus areas that I need to be
So
putting my
I'd
energy
say this is an excellent observation because this is exactly the world that executives live in.
in? Mm.
And it's the VUCA world. It's volatile, it's ambiguous, it's constant change. So it demands a lot. And one of that is the spiral of the speed and technology that keeps us in constant alerts and in constant notifications.
Yeah.
So the most difficult thing I am working on with my clients is to invite them to pause. It's
Mm.
so difficult for people to pause.
It, it is when you're in the middle of all that hectic.
Yeah. But ancient Greeks used to say that in order to go fast, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a paradox, but it's not. It's not a paradox because by slowing down, and I don't mean like meditating 8 hours a day. No, 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 that's not the case.
Yeah.
But taking a minute
Yeah.
to to really think of these three questions. I invite them to answer this deceptively simple questions. What
Mm.
is happening now? How does that make me feel? And what's the best thing for me to do now? In order to break the cycle from trigger to reaction.
Mm.
I think that's key. That's key in all my coaching relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you just also shared now from the ancient Greeks, I didn't know it comes from there, but it's one of the key learnings I learned 10 years ago, slow down to go faster. And it's something that I also remind myself when I was super hectic in the organization life, that slow down to go faster. And I think it helps actually has helped me a lot during my career.
It offers perspective, right?
It
It
reminds
offers some
you.
kind of
Yeah. What is the role emotional intelligence and self-awareness play in sustained leadership?
Well, emotional intelligence is the soil for leadership. Without it, even best practices fail. And it's not about being soft, okay? There's a misunderstanding there, but it is about being sustainable. And what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence includes 5 pillars. It's self-awareness, it's self-regulation, it's motivation, empathy, and self-care. How can you be a good leader, a sustainable, transformational, authentic leader without emotional intelligence? So, besides these being buzzwords, lately, I do believe emotional intelligence makes the difference between burnout and balance, between managing and leading.
I fully agree. You also incorporate Jungian approach and positive intelligence into your work. How do these frameworks come to life in these sessions?
So actually, I want to thank you for this question because I'm very passionate about Jungian coaching. Jungian coaching incorporates the main principles of the Jungian psychological principles, which is also called depth psychology. So by using metaphors, by using symbols, by using archetypes and art, which feel very contradicting and very, not for the corporate world, we tap into unconscious material, we bring it up to the surface level, and we expand the leader's personality. We enrich the leader's tool set. Now, this is very fascinating because we are not talking art like, creating masterpieces like Picasso or Dali. We are talking about like putting to an A4 piece of paper anything that comes up, a circle, a cross, or anything, and talking about what that symbolizes about the leader. That creates a spiral of insight in a very unconventional and not in a question answer way. Now, positive intelligence is a very modern tool, I'd say, that it works through an app, and it's very connected to mindfulness and positive psychology, cognitive also behavioral psychology, and it is a reminder. It is an accountability tool for my clients to hold on to and do the daily work that is really necessary in order to create this habit of reflection, the habit of a bit of introspection, and the habit of slowing down.
You mentioned art, and I have actually signed up to a session that is called Artful Leadership. So I'm really looking forward hearing a bit more. But now you also,
Good.
explained those. So really, really interesting.
I would love to hear your insights on that.
Happy to share once the session has been held.
Good.
Hey, let's go a bit deeper into the change and burnout and purpose alignment. Burnout and emotional fatigue are increasingly common among senior leaders, as you already also mentioned. How do you help leaders recognize and address this?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to share is that burnout is not just about working overtime. Is not just about working multiple hours with few resources or even working with a toxic leader. Burnout is often about living out of alignment. And what does that really mean? The first thing I invite my clients to do, because I am working a lot with many leaders who come back to work after burnout. So we tune into the body. Most leaders think that it's now I'm going to ChatGPT or I'm going to read a lot about burnout, and they are trying to find a way to think their way out of burnout. But the road is to feel the way out of burnout. And this means that I support them to notice the signals they have been overriding, like chronic emotional, psychological, and mental fatigue, and also irritability, and also sleepless nights, and also cynicism, like, oh no, why am I doing this? What's the point? Why I should get up of bed? So that's the first step, which is really crucial. And then we listen. I invite the clients to listen. Like, what is this burnout trying to say to me? What are the boundaries that were overstepped? Or what self has been neglected? So I'm trying to reframe burnout or as the outcome to a beginning, like a beginning to restart, rethink, reinvent, reevaluate, but with purpose, with boundaries, with energy, and loads of self-care, loads of self-care.
Loads of self-care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share a story of someone who really rediscovered their energy and impact through this kind of work?
Um, well, I hold this story very dear to my heart because the ripple effect it created was really amazing. So I had this client who had a toxic leader and who couldn't share about boundaries, who couldn't share what was important for them. But through the work, he found clarity, and most importantly, he found the courage to share about what is acceptable for him and what is not. Now, this is one part of the story, because the second part of the story is that through this sharing, the leader sought support. It was a wake up call for the leader. It was actually the first time for him that a direct report came up and shared how they really felt and what they really needed. So I love this sense that a single alignment can have such a transformational um, impact on multiple people.
Yeah. And if a leader is really having this change, as you said, the ripple effect that it has in the organization, in the team he's working, can be unbelievably big.
Absolutely. It is the ripple effect, actually, and it is the most valuable thing to see in a team setting. A leader who creates these circles around him. Imagine a positive leader, a leader who is working on themselves. Imagine the message they are sending to their people.
Yeah. Yeah. And having the trust in the team so that they can speak up. I mean, the team members can speak up if they are feeling something is not right.
This is a fantastic point, and it's called psychological safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychological safety is all about I feel safe to express myself, to talk about my views without feeling backstabbing or feeling insecure that I will have repercussions in my work or in my assessment. So it is all about the psychological safety that the leader is creating to the team. Definitely.
Yeah. Creating the conditions where everybody can be successful.
Definitely. Yeah.
What's one mindset shift that, well, tends to unlock growth for the people you work with? I don't know if you can name any one mindset.
Well, there are many, but for high performers and high achievers, moving from I should prove my value, I should prove my work, to I choose to show up this
Mm.
way, whatever way they
Mm.
choose, but being aware that this is a choice, they have a choice. And answering the question, who do I choose to be, is a great refrain.
It is great. Who do I choose to be? I think it's a question that you could ask every morning when you wake up. How do I choose to be today?
So true.
We could continue this episode, I think, for quite a few hours, but we are now coming to the close of the episode, and I'd like to end it with a quick fire round. So, giving you a few quick questions, Stella. So,
I'd
in
love
this
to.
one, what is a book that has changed your thinking? If you can name one book.
Okay, this is a difficult one because I'm a bookworm and I read a lot, and there have been many books, but I will talk about the one that I'm reading right now, and it's called Humankind, a Hopeful History, and it is written by Rutger Bregman. And what's fascinating about this book is that it challenges the cynical view that we have of the human nature. And for every executive coach that is working with leaders who believe that toughness is the way to lead and not trust, I think it's a fantastic book.
I will definitely find that book to read. What is your leadership superpower?
Um, I see the good in people. I
Hmm.
care.
Mm.
I care
Yeah,
deeply.
yeah. What is one value you never compromise on?
No, never. Never is a very strong word, but I have learned not to compromise on my integrity and my aligning with my core. I've learned it the hard way.
Hmm. What is the most underrated quality in leadership?
Oh, kindness. Definitely. Kindness and caring for others,
Hmm.
not just as a tactic and a strategy. Oh, I need to do that in order to have
Hmm.
high performance, but
Hmm.
as a way of being and thinking, a modus operandi and vivendi.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a recent moment that made you feel truly aligned with your purpose?
Oh, apart from me quitting my 27-year-old career, this was a huge alignment.
Hmm.
The most recent one is saying no to a very high profile opportunity, which looked fantastic and impressive on paper, but somehow something didn't feel right. And I would have to give up, sacrifice a lot of my professional freedom. So I said no, and it didn't feel like fear. It felt quite a lot like peace.
Hmm. Great. And last question. Finish the sentence. A leader worth following is.
I'd say, to me, someone who gives themselves permission to show up as vulnerable as
Hmm.
you are.
Hmm. So someone like you, Stella.
I try to walk the talk. I try to model. Thank you for that. I receive it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can sense you're doing excellent work. Stella, thank you so much for joining us and bringing your warmth and insight to People and Purpose podcast. I think your story is such a powerful reminder that growth doesn't end at the top; it often just begins. And to all our
Thank you so
listeners,
much. Thank
yeah,
you so much, Tarja. This has been an inspiring discussion, and thank you so much for these beautiful questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella. So if you have enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend or colleague, especially someone in a leadership role who really is ready to reconnect with purpose. And if today's conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to explore more about Stella and the work she does with inSymmetry International. Until next time, I'm Tarja Takko, and this is People and Purpose, where we believe leadership starts with who you are. Thank you for joining. Bye for now.